Hello, SpeedGaming. Welcome to Gammachuu versus Skele, Game 3. Hybrid Matrix, which is losers bracket semifinal race. So that means that the winner of this race will play the loser of TAM and MM2 Nest Cartridge, who just started their series today, with TAM taking the first game. Well, it's a spicy opener so far, with Gamma going to Hospital's closet, finding out Pendant Eastern, while Skele finds the bow under the bridge. So Skele might have been more tempted to go there with that bow, but because it is Pendant Eastern, he might also put it off. Both of them approaching Lost Woods from the south. I think they do like to do a route that climbs the mountain closer to Lumberjack, and then does the old man on the way down. But this could also just lead into something else. It can be hard to predict what people are going to do when they have so many choices. For example, that glove just sitting there in the Lost Woods might lead them to the back of Escape. I always tell people that you should do the back of Escape on your first save and quit after finding the glove. If they go up the mountain, they can take a mountain descent and get to back of Escape that way and pick up Graveyard Ledge on the way. So if they weren't going to go up the mountain before, they might be more tempted to do so now. Simultaneous clipping, let's go. Both of them doing the Lumberjack ascent. The hardest part of this ascent is actually getting back in bounds. Both of them get it pretty quickly, only one splash between them. Ooh, a rod of some color, which we'll find out soon. I'm sure Gammachuu knows what it is. Showing off an optional clip you can do to make that a little bit faster. It is the fire rod. Now, an interesting thing about this route is because Gamma's getting this, he has no choice but to exit at the bottom of Spectacle Rock Cave so that he can still rescue the old man, because he hasn't done that yet. He'd have to climb the mountain again if he were to save and quit out of there like he normally would. I wonder if Skele will do the same. I think you could just get it later. No, he's getting it now. See, I think you get it later, because what are you going to do with that, right? You can rescue the old man and then clip back up the mountain very quickly to get that. But this is fine too. If you can survive the mini mold worms, you'll be okay. Oh yeah, Skele can also hover, so that makes this better. Interesting that Skele was willing to hover out, but not in. Gammachuu descending the mountain to Graveyard Ledge, not fixing his camera, so he won't be able to do back of escape this way. He does find a sword, which is a really good find in the early game, especially on 3 hearts. Okay, so Gamma actually does want to do back of escape, and he's just fixing his camera at Sanctuary. I wonder if he knows that you can transition north. You see what Skele just did there? That transition north was on purpose, and that fixes the camera too. There are 3 items in the back of escape, which means front of escape is less dense than it normally would be. The map in small key still at large. Oh no, the small key is found. That was in Sanctuary. Never mind. I can see it on Skele's HUD. The Gammachuu choosing to climb Tower of Hera naturally, using the big key that was not guaranteed but was found in the front of Hera. Meanwhile, Skele doing Kakariko Village. This is a good time to do it. He has the fire rod and a weapon and the glove. He has most of the stuff you would want to have before doing Kakin Desert. A free flute in the well means that putting off Kakariko does not pay off in this seed. Because if you didn't have the stuff you want to have, you could always flute away and come back. I don't see a lot of people do that. But if you have the flute, you can totally just leave in the middle of it and come back later. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the inbounds. The dead rock being in the way, he wasn't sure if he could safely snap back in, so he uses a dash instead. This part of the mountain's pretty treacherous on 3 hearts, even with blue mail. Early enough in the game that Skele doesn't turn his nose up at a red boomerang on Desert Ledge. Meanwhile, Hammer and Mirror, the Mimic Cave starter kit in Paradox Cave. Spicy Pearl incoming. So Gammachuu following behind Skele and Kakariko. He has... Don't say it, but he has the mirror and the glove going into Desert. So he could go to Hammer Pigs if he wanted to. But he also has the hammer, and we'll probably just go there the normal way. Alright, not much to say here, just Lamolas. So both runners will have a crystal dungeon in their pockets. Actually, a red crystal, which is pretty funny. I think they will get to the Dark World with the big bomb available, and they will definitely not use it. But I think if they really wanted to meme, they could buy it and use it for Hype Cave. Speaking of memes, we have an NMG Landmo. Skele's doing really well on it. That was a nice last shot. I wasn't counting cycles, I only saw the last two, but they both looked really good. Gammachuu has the slightly less worse option of using the hammer. Oh, Skele's teleporting up at a... Okay, I didn't know you could actually do that. I wasn't sure if that side would work. Ooh, a lamp. So if he hadn't been on the mountain yet, you could have a fire source for this. Alright, does Skele know the tech? Hold up left? No! Hold up left, it's the best. If you hold up left, you get a nice long hop and it's faster. Ooh, first South Shore, Skele doesn't have the mirror, so has to make 2 trips in the dam. Gammachuu will have a slightly faster dam. Alright, Gammachuu not even wasting time with arrows, just has enough magic for the fight. Also gets really good pattern with all of them going to the center. Skele choosing to save and quit out of Mini Moldorm Cave. I like that when you have the flute because walking out of Mini Moldorm Cave is slow. So if you're gonna flute from somewhere to 8, you should flute from somewhere outside. He also is just a little bit short on rupees. He'll have better luck if he goes up the mountain and finds the 2 300s that are here, and the hammer and the mirror. And I'm sure he'll have something better to do. Like Pod! Moonpearl's always in Pod. And we have the lamp and the bow. Or at least Gamma's about to get the lamp. So I think this is looking strong for Pod. You go in there, it's probably a crystal, right? You don't find out until you're inside, though. The tragedy of the seed is you fight Moldorm before you get the hammer. And then you get the hammer right away. So Skele gets to do 2 NMG fights. 3 if he does Pendant Eastern. It's also worth noting that there's an item in Hera Basement. And there's nothing stopping the Moon Pearl or even the Meyer Medallion from being in there. And that's a really hard one to convince yourself to go to. Because not only do you not want to do Hera Basement, but you also want to hold on to the key so you can spend it in Swamp later. Skele's showing us there's a sword on Ether Tablet that we can't get yet. So that's always going to be tempered or butter. Or it's going to be tempered or nothing because you don't need it by that point. Oh no, Gammachoo's anti-pumping downstairs. Okay, Skele, if you're watching this back, you can't get spin speed if you're touching a wall. I think he figured it out after like the third one. I think people don't really learn that until they start glitching, because if you're standing still to arm spin speed, you're probably not saving time anyway, but we do it for the glitches here. There's also a sword in Waterfall, which means that that Ether Tablet sword is now accessible. Easy tempered. Gamma doesn't know about it. He'll get on the first go, which is really nice for him. Normally you want to not have the Master Sword when you're checking tablets, because it's usually nothing and you save time not doing the animation. But on the rare case where you do come back for it, of course it is much faster to single dip it. Speaking of singles, one arrow on Zora. And Skele's walking out of Paradox. I wonder where he's going. Dropping down is interesting, because I would have thought maybe he'd be going to the Hammer Pegs at Turtle Rock Portal to do Super Bunny Cave and Mimic Cave. But he apparently thinks he has the mitts and is going that way instead. He does not have the mitts, so he's going somewhere else. Gamma, trying to go to Pod, I think, gets maybe a little bit lost and flutes out. Or just changes his mind, I'm not sure. He may have changed his mind. That actually looked like maybe he's going into Pyramid Fairy. Maybe he wants to know that Pod's a crystal before he actually commits to it, and it is a crystal. The green pendant's at Thieves Town, and I think that was Ice Palace for the other one. Skele is just gonna go for it. He has already entered Pod. He doesn't even know it's a crystal yet. Okay, Flute 6. That's a really interesting choice. I think he's checking the tablet here. I always forget Flute 6 exists in glitch modes, unless I have the mitts. So Uncle has the ice rod. They will have to get there eventually. I don't see, in a sea where you have mirror, I don't see you missing that for too long. If nothing else, you'll get it after GT. Yeah, I'm a person who watches restreams that I'm in, and I like it when they like tell me stuff I didn't know. But maybe I try not to be too harsh, because like you don't like, especially if you lose the game and then you watch it back and you're like commentators like pooping all over your gameplay. So I try to limit it to things that are like constructive and you can learn from. Unless I'm like... Unless it's Fox. I will poop all over Fox, because he's a better player than me, and I can do that. These are both, like, better execution players than me, too. So it's more fun that way. As you can see, they're in the top 4, and I'm not. So I can say whatever I want. I think both of them are making good decisions here. Like I was saying, Pod is being heavily telegraphed. Skele hasn't found anything yet, but I still think it's a really good idea to be in here. And I liked Gamma's decision to check the map first. Sometimes I like to just go in when I don't know it's a crystal or pendant, because I know if it is a pendant, I'm like never gonna go back. But if I don't know, then it's... Oops, I'm in a pendant, might as well full clear it and maybe get lucky. And then if they ask me, hey, why did you go to Pendant Pod? It's because I didn't know it was a pendant. So Gamma's in Pyramid Fairy. This is a whole... Pyramid Fairy Escape is a very common combination. Which is funny because Gammachuu actually does have the big bomb available. You can see why we don't really use it in this mode. This isn't even the only way in. Oh look, a Tempered Sword. Gamma will get Butter Sword. Because he hasn't checked Ether Tablet yet. Skele may or may not get it. Depending on what order he finds his other swords in. But it's looking like the Ice Rod was the only thing worth getting here. Skele can get that last and probably be fine. Gamma's preparing for a possible fake flute play. Although I'm not sure where and when he plans to do it. Normally I would do it like after Pyramid Fairy, because that's one of the checks where you'll actually be in the overworld after checking something that's in logic. But Gamma has... I think he has a bunch of in-logic Dark World that he can do. That would be more efficient if he fake fluted. And that stuff is Skullwoods and Village of Outcasts, 2 checks. If he fake flutes, he can also do Thieves Town. Which is a pendant. He's also opting to pick up this Hera item. This could be a game winner if you get it early and your opponent doesn't. Really hard to get to this psychologically, even though you enter Hera about 6 times per seed. Getting a runner to actually do Hera basement is like pulling teeth. The Skele, it doesn't look like anything was in Pod either. Gammachuu choosing to get his key back. Hard resetting. Very careful to save and quit to the mountain to make sure he didn't lose his Ice Rod or his Tempered Sword. Or his Blue Potion, apparently. Very nice Helmasaur fight. Clean phase 2. I don't even think Helmasaur moved. Just a red rupee and a crystal, though. So, I mean, I expect to see Gamma in here, too. It was so heavily telegraphed, and for it to be nothing is actually shocking to me. Gamma looks like he's saying no to Pod, which is very surprising. He has to get here eventually for the crystal, and I'll probably end up full clearing it, since so many items are missing. Oh, he doesn't have his bow. Oh, that was that hobo. Yeah, he's not going to Pod without a bow. I wouldn't either. Yeah, this is perfectly predictable if I had noticed that he didn't have a bow. Oh, he missed the fake flute. He doesn't want a hard reset because he got a sword, apparently. It's just worth it enough for him. He actually left his portal there, so he could come back with the fake flute or with the blue potion. And then walk into the portal. It's pretty clever. Skele is picking up some checks that will get him a sword. Oh, he didn't get the water walk. Interesting. He was thinking about maybe going to a, like an item-based fake flipper setup, but you need to have the moon pearl to get the water walk inside of Waterfall Fairy if you're going to do that, and he's not going to be able to. So he's going back for the water walk. You can actually use the other cave. The other cave is identical, and it's a little bit closer. But I think most people just don't think of it because, like, nobody ever goes in there for any reason. That cave could have a shop selling 3 shields in it, and nobody would know about it. Because nobody goes there. He was having a little bit of trouble with the fake flute. Well, at least he's not drinking the potion this time. There we go. So fake flute to 3 accomplishes the same thing as something that is in logic, which is to mirror clip off the mountain. But because he also gets this, like, Super Bunny Link state thing that he's about to get, he gets to do a little bit more. A more complete check of the area, which means he can do, you can see Bombable Hut, that wouldn't have been accessible. And Thieves Town if he chooses to. It is a pendant. He probably will, though. I think green pendant is a good idea. Especially if you think your next play might be Eastern. Yeah, the cave next to Ice Rod Cave has a statue you can bonk for a good bee and some fairies that you can catch. If you're ever playing a bingo and it's like telling you to like catch a bee, like you could go in there for it. And if you're playing Bonkery Lonkery, that could be a check that you need. Okay, Skele getting the ice rod from Uncle. And apparently a bunch of other nothing that Gammachuu got. Feels like we haven't seen progression in a while. Alright, Gammachoo's out of here. I was not counting items, but front 4 is pretty reasonable with the mirror. Could be hard to get back to, though. Another thing that'll be hard to get back to for him is the hammer pegs. The reason he can't just do it now is because if he were to go inside and come back out, he'll be a bunny again, and he'll be trapped in that little area. So he's gonna use his Link State to check Bumper Ledge and then Skullwoods. Oh, he's actually, I wonder why he's doing this. There's no benefit to being... Oh, he was in Fake Dark World. Yeah, he had to. He had to do this. He was gonna be in the Light World and checking Magic Bat if he tried to do that. I didn't even, like, notice that he had Death Warped. I thought he was just Link Stating stuff. He, like, half wants that bottle. I think he's thinking about it. But he is taking some intentional damage to make the Death Warp a little faster in Skull. That bottle isn't hard to get, but it's also probably not worth it. Clipping as a bunny in that spot is actually, like, I would say unreasonably slow. But you don't have to clip as a bunny, you can just set up a mirror portal and then clip as Link in the light world and then let the portal take you back and then do the teleport. And that's, you know, if you can do your clips fast enough, which you have like 15 seconds, it's a decent amount of time, you can get some free bunny clips that would otherwise be unreasonably difficult. It's a good way to get across the mountain. Which, speaking of which, like, Across the Mountain is still available. I was saying Mimic Cave earlier, and that could be a Moon Pearl location. Along with Super Bunny Cave and some of Turtle Rock. The Skele in Saw's closet is probably going to do Eastern now. Really following that bow. And if it is there, that's pretty big for him. Oh, he's just going to flute out. Guess he has better things to do. Like Super Bunny Cave. And more likely just do what Gammachuu is doing. Oh, of course, he wants his sword. Can't blame you. Very nice fight for Gamma. 2 spikes. 8 out of 10. That did look like a gold sword strat. You can just slash the... but it's not... Okay, pet check for Gammachuu. Nothing. I can't believe that it's just been nothing all the way down. I think they've done 3 or 4 dungeons between them since the last progression item. I didn't realize this, but Skele did Pyramid Fairy separate from... Oh. Well, that's just disgusting. So Gammachuu found the mitts in Skull Woods. There's a lot of things you could do with the mitts that you don't really want to do. One of them is Ice Palace, and it's a pendant in this seed. Pendant Ice and no cane to get your Moon Pearl would be pretty bad. Maybe that'll get Gamma closer to the bow. Because he could get into, like, the bridge and then fake flip her out and get to ice. Another thing Gamma could do with mitts, which is pretty quick, is he could go to Flute 6 and pick up Mire Shed. And that's in Logic too, with the mirror and the mitts. You just get a super bunny. Like, people in No Glitches do it all the time. Pearl is definitely some brand of spicy. Even if that spicy is just pendant. Well, for here. Even it's the pearl. How many is that? Put your peppers in chat. How many spicy is that? Skele's doing the back of thieves. That's another one of those game winners. The bow is in the hobo, so Gamma actually had like one non-spicy location left, and it was Eastern, Odd, and Hobo. Like, he hasn't gone to either of them because of the bow. It's an interesting location because it's like so easy to get to, but Gamma seems to have written it off, and it's probably waiting for flippers. But it also doesn't seem to be hurting him because we saw a pod and it's nothing. Oh, the cape. Actually pretty good to have, because if you're gonna get a GT at some point, which isn't looking good now, but if a hookshot or a cane shows up, it would be. You do want to have something for Spike Cave to do on the way in and still be able to walk out of Spike Cave. Kind of a pain in the butt to have to do Spike Cave with just like fairy bottles or potions, or skip it. Nothing really for Skele on this Thieves Town play. He's got a chance to get the green pendant. And that could be something. Because there wasn't even an item on the boss. I wonder if he was hoping he would just, like, find all things and leave. No, he wasn't. Yeah, I think he was hoping the item was on blind, so he wouldn't have to feel bad about doing it just for the pendant. interesting Gamma choosing to open Turtle Rock this way. I think he's a fan of like walking into the front of TR. But he can't actually do that because he doesn't have the cane, but he also doesn't have the medallion. It's Quake. That's actually pretty good. You don't want to have the medallion for TR until you're ready to do it because it's usually medallion locked by logic, and you really don't want your cane to be in there or really anything else. I don't know. It's probably irrelevant in this seed. Because if it's medallion locked, it's like already cane locked. And your cane could just be in the one chest that you can always get to from the middle. The Gamma is not a hover, so he's just going to be getting one chest here. Skele is a hover. We might see these from him first. Skele is still on his Moon Pearl path, doing Skull Woods to get the mitts, to get the Moon Pearl and Mire Shed. But he also has already done Pod, which Gamma hasn't done and doesn't even have the required items for. Ooh, Gamma. Going for something interesting here. Just, I guess, leaving the area? Oh, he hasn't done Geekzoom. He's just walking there. What other sphere ones are missing? So I don't think we saw Skele do this either. Oh, that was cool. Skele had the full magic refill and actually like fired an extra rod shot for some reason. Probably by accident. And still got the full refill. Not that he'll need it. Yeah, so this is why I was saying it was like really good for Gamma to have Cape. Because he wants to walk out of here. Alright, who's gonna have the better moth fight? They're actually tied. They both get 2 spikes. Very good. Skele does have to go back through to get the mitts. I mean, technically he doesn't have to, but nobody's gonna do the thing that skips the mitts in an HMG seed. It's not worth it. You're just gonna follow your in-logic locations until you get Pearl, or decide to play without it and do Crystal Dungeons. So Gamma in GT is kind of interesting because he's missing certain items that are usually logically required for most of the checks in here. One of them is in Hope Room. So, wow, that's actually rude of the seed. Hookshot is there, just sitting there in Hope Room. So it's like, you go in there, I'm not going to go in here until I get Hookshot because it's not in logic. And you just go in there and the Hookshot's there. Very good for Gamma. He's not going to really be able to do anything with the Hookshot except continue in GT. He could go back to Hookshot Cave. Skele could just do Hookshot Cave, I think, without it. But that won't get him closer to the Hookshot, because he needs it for Swamp, which Gamma just found the flippers for in this room, so that's actually kind of good. If GT has a really bad item in Hope Room, you want the rest of the items to be past that item. You don't want to have better things to do for the whole seed. See, the cane is here too. Okay, so that's actually really good news for Skele. Skele wants everything to be stuffed in this dungeon, except for the bow. If the bow turns up, then Skele's just kind of screwed, because Gammachuu will be in go mode and ahead. But if everything except the bow turns up for Gamma, then Gamma's gonna have a lot of stuff to do that isn't Hobo. And if another bow doesn't turn up, then this could actually be anybody's game. Hard to predict, you know, of course, when Gamma chooses to go there. When he has the flippers, he might just go there next. Maybe he is saying, I'll do it as soon as I get flippers, and then he'll have the bow. But as it stands, we do have all the items between the two runners that are needed for the seed. Okay, where's Skele going? Is this GT? Because if this is GT, then Skele's about to be in go mode. It's kind of looking like that direction. Not doing high spike cave because he can't, really. Oh yeah, he's going in! This is really good for Skele. Wow. I can't believe they're doing this, but also I'm looking at what they have available to them. And what they have available is not that great, so I can kind of understand it. You go in here knowing that you can at least, like, clear out the basement and get the big key, because you have the hammer. And if there's something good in Hope Room, then you're ensuring against exactly what Skele just found there. Alright, where does Gamma go next? So Gamma could just stumble on a bow and he'd be pretty good to go. It's not over yet. It's not even remotely over. But I do think Skele has an advantage here. He has all of GT left, but he's done pod. So where does Gamma go? This is probably Turtle Rock. He won't be able to do Turtle Rock and walk out and do the rest of Hookshot Cave. But he could, like, walk out and mirror and go back in, and probably not even faster than just saving and quitting at that point. I'm having a little trouble with this clip here. Yeah, well, you should probably just go down. I wonder if he knows the cue. Oh, he has, like, a special way to do it. Okay. It's like a hold down method instead of a hold up method. It looks harder, in my opinion, but it seems to work for him. It's actually very oh my goodness. Well, if it wasn't the bow on Laser Bridge, we have a race. Both of them in go mode, like a minute apart. Now we have to start counting beans. I don't really have a good sense of like how long pod will take. I don't remember where the big key was. If somebody could remember where the big key was, that would help a lot. Okay, so if the pod big key is in the front 6. Oh, I just don't know who's ahead. We just get to watch and find out. I think this will be more fun to just sit back and enjoy the show. Skele is in the GT climb with no magic. Not a whole lot of health either, but he does have a pot that he can pick up here, and he has the lamp. So he doesn't have to worry too much about magic management. He just has to be aware of it. And Tam makes a good point, is normally we do climb last, because it's faster to get to Ganon this way from a save and quit than most other ways. But one of the few ways that's faster than this is to walk out of Swamp and run over there. At least I think it is. If it's not faster, it's very close. But with Skele in go mode, he can just like do Swamp last and have a guaranteed path to Ganon that's fast. Turtle Rock not being very friendly, but it doesn't matter because both of them will be go-moding it the same way, I think. They don't have the option to open the front. You know what's funny though? Skele's gonna have silver arrows. He's gonna go into, if he does Laser Bridge, he's gonna go in and get the first chest, and it's gonna be the bow. You always get Laser Bridge chest because you need a key. So you open Laser Bridge chest until you find a key, and then you stop. But the first chest is the bow, and if he opens that chest first, he'll get it. The simultaneous boss kills, we have Skele with the GT climb and pod complete, and we have Gammachuu with Turtle Rock complete. I still think Skele's a little bit ahead, but it's super hard to gauge. The Turtle Rock is going to be very fast for Gamma. Who's the runner with the biggest bag of tricks? I think both of them are about equal. They both learned at around the same time. Gammachuu went through the Glitch Mentor tournament. I think Skele learned on his own. But it also doesn't really matter because of the item set they have. I think the only glitch that's really in anyone's way now is Hair to Swamp. Gammachuu does Hair to Swamp with the bomb, and that one can be kind of unreliable. If Skele does it faster, he can gain a little time. I don't know if we're so close that we have to start talking about glitch execution for individual glitches. I don't expect to see one runner do a glitch that the other runner doesn't do, and like save time that way. I think it's like more relevant that Skele's gonna have silver arrows and Gamma won't. And then whatever lead is already in play, which is really hard to gauge because they've done different things. I think they're even routing Meyer the same. Alright. It's a shame that Skele is doing this first. Before TR, because he won't have silvers for Vitreous. Which wouldn't save that much time, but it would save him arrows. Phase 2 would be a little faster. Alright. This looks like Swamp for Gamma. So Gamma, it's fine because Gamma doesn't need to worry about his dungeon order because he's doing GT last. Skele will want to do Swamp last, so I expect to see TR next for him. I don't expect to see extra chest opening for Gamma. I suppose you could do like diver down chests for arrows. Skele would probably not do any of that. He's gonna have silvers by the time he's there. Okay, we got here to Swamp for Skele, also doing a bomb strat. See how he pulls it off. Looks good. Super clean. And clean Specky Clip as well. HMG players jumped all over Specky Clip because it impacted our mode more than any other mode. Everyone's talking about cross keys and oh, you can get like a hammerless seed, but like in HMG you can already get a hammerless seed, so knowing Specky Clip means that you don't have to do it the HMG way anymore. So we all learned it immediately. It was also immediately legal because it's like unambiguously less severe than the stuff we're already doing. Skele's doing Swamp before TR. I guess it's not that different if you have the flute. I don't think he's going to lose that much time to it, but it's still not quite optimal. A TR first would be faster. I mean, if this wasn't such a close race, I don't think it would matter as much, but now we're starting to look at, you know, every little bit of time that Skele loses is potential for Gamma to take a lead, which I do think that Skele still has a lead, but it's, you know, it's not an easy lead. It's not a guaranteed lead. And I think most of that lead comes down to just like he's going to have silvers in phase 4 of Ganon. Like that's how close this is. Yeah, I should probably explain a little bit. And we're coming to the end of this tournament. If you're just new to the mode, one of the main features of this mode is that we can do Swamp inside out. We clip here from Hera or Swamp. But when you're like clipping from dungeon to dungeon, the game still thinks you're in the original dungeon you came from. And the only way to get the game to acknowledge that you're in the new dungeon is to walk out and in again from some kind of front door. That's why they need to have the swamp dam flooded ahead of time if they don't have the mirror. That's how you do mirrorless swamp, is you just flood it ahead of time and you save and quit and it stays flooded. As long as you don't transition screens on the overworld. In this case, they had the mirror, so they could just walk out and pull the dam. The Gammachuu will have a very fast pod and then a GT climb. Skele will have a pretty slow turtle rock. It's the turtle rock that would be faster if you had the medallion and we're entering from the front, but because Skele doesn't have the medallion, we know he's going to have to do it from the back. Yeah, this clip that Gammachuu did is also a feature of hybrid major glitches. Getting into pod from Spectacle Rock Cave means that you enter pod in a special cave state and can open a door for free. You can open all the doors for free, but when you're not playing Key Sanity, it's not really worth opening any other doors, but you open that door and it makes the routing a lot cleaner. You get an extra key for the dungeon, and sometimes you can skip things like all the right side keys, or you can not open the arena ledge chest. You can guarantee that you can walk in through the middle instead of having to go right side. Like, I think even like Gammachuu bombing that wall is like superfluous. Like, we usually don't need that key if it's a key. If it's anything but a key, we will, but that's the only reason we would ever open that chest. So there's silvers for Skele and the key that he was actually looking for. Well, maybe the big key wasn't in the verse 4. If that's the case, then we have more wiggle room for Skele. Oh, there it is. Not bad. First chest in the back. Gamma doesn't even need whatever's in this one. He can just walk down and get to Helmasaur. Although it is a little bit roundabout. Yeah, I would say Skele is a lead, but it's not like the game is over for Gamma. But the GT climb is definitely slower than whatever Skele's doing right now. And then Skele has silvers. Yeah, I'm thinking too about like why does Skele have a lead? We did see Gamma go up to like Death Mountain. He did Super Bunny, Hookshot Cave, Catfish. That's something Skele didn't do, right? Skele did none of that. He also didn't do... Oh, what didn't he do? It's weird. It does seem like Skele just did everything Gamma did, but somehow arrived at Go Mode faster. It's got to be whatever Gamma did after Pearl, because I know Gamma did some things after Pearl, and Skele did absolutely nothing. He went straight to GT. And then, of course, already having the bow going in. I'm not sure where the GT big key was, but I know that Gamma did all the checks in the basement, and maybe Skele didn't do all the checks in the basement. If the big key was on the right side, then it would be even, but if it was anywhere but the right side, we know Gamma did the right side looking for a bow. Oh yeah, so if Big Key was Firebar Room on the left side, then Skele didn't do the right side of GT, didn't do Tile Room. That's a pretty big difference. I mean, it's enough of a difference to account for where they are now. So Skele's gonna have to like flute to 5 to get to Ganon. Gamma's doing the equivalent of that by going to GT. Because he'll get dropped off right at the pyramid. Another thing I saw Gamma do that I don't think Skele did was he went to King's Tomb after turning in the mushroom or after buying a potion. I don't think Skele did that at all. Oh, and he did Hera Basement. Yeah, Gamma did a lot more, I think. It was definitely enough to make up the difference. One thing that Skele did that Gamma didn't do, though, he actually did Thieves Town all the way to the back. Which is enough to maybe make up for one of those things. Like, maybe it was enough to make up for Hera Basement, enough to make up for East Death Mountain and the Dark World, but Gamma did a few things that Skele didn't do, and the bookkeeping just worked out that Gamma's in Gauntlet 3, and Skele is running over to Ganon. Nice Lambo too. Skele not even really having to worry about phase 1 of Ganon. taking his time, making sure he's surviving. He knows it's 1:16 in and Gamma hasn't finished. Doesn't mean he's winning, because the people in this tournament are really fast. I took some data, and even just like the first half of the tournament when we had our newest runners still playing, like people were saving like 3 minutes over like the 2021 cohort throughout the whole tournament. And once I pull up the data for the rest of the tournament, when you have the fast runners, you know, have eliminated the slower runners, I expect to see that number increase. Alright, very nice, deliberate triple setup for Skele. He timed those torches exactly right to get Ganon down. And he walks through at 1:17:27 just as Gamma enters Moldorm 2. It's a pretty close race overall. With a very spicy Moon Pearl. I get 2 down for Gamma. No attempt at a clape. He knows Skele finished. He's going to finish this one out because he's so close. And he's probably going to get something close to a 1:20, which is a very good time for a Moon Pearl that was in Mire Shed behind Mitts and Skullwoods. So Gammachuu will have a Silverless Ganon fight by virtue of not having the Hobobo. Gamma poking Ganon to get the first frame hit. Nice optimization. I think this spin accomplishes the same thing. Whoa! That was sick. If you missed it, Gamma dashed across the top of the screen to get a dashing gold sword hit on Ganon. That was very impressive. That was a really, really flashy Ganon Phase 4. I'd love to see it. Especially in your last race of the tournament. That is Gamma with the 1:20.54. So Skele's 1:17.26. Just a few minutes apart. And we are joined by Skele in the chat. GG. Congratulations.
GG, thanks. Sorry, I was muted.
So yeah, that was a pretty interesting moon pearl. That was clearly the feature of this seed was the moon pearl. Because after the moon pearl, you just go to GT and win, right?
Yeah, so I was like super tilted early on, to be honest. Just like I was getting really distracted by other stuff, like IRL, and I was just getting like really tilted and just couldn't focus really. So I was like, I don't think I can win today routing conventionally. So I'm just gonna like hope that this seed is really stupid and just go to like do some Dark World Bunny stuff instead of like going to Eastern, for example. And it totally paid off.
Well, what's interesting is that Gamma didn't go to Eastern or Pod because he didn't go to Hobo and didn't get the bow.
Oh my gosh, Hobo had the bow.
Hobo had the bow. It was Skele's second check of the game, but it didn't help him very much because the bow and laser bridge was like super duper
free.
amazing for you. Yeah.
So that means you skipped King with your go mode.
Yes.
Okay.
Except, you want to know what's even stupider? I didn't even look at the Meyer Medallion because I was so annoyed with everything happening. So I didn't know if I needed Quake or not. I just assumed
that's
I didn't.
Pretty funny. I didn't notice that because we'd already seen it from Gamma. Because Gamma was the first to Pearl. By a long shot, actually. Gamma did a lot of stuff. And I was surprised to see him first to Pearl. But I think it was mostly because you had done Pod. But Gamma also did things like Hair Basement and top of Death Mountain, and then more of GT because he was still looking for a bow. I think that was enough to make the difference. The only thing you, Skele, did was back of Thieves Town.
Yeah, that was that was gonna be my signature move for this race. Pearlless Thieves Town, Pendant Thieves Town.
Well, first off, GG's to you, Skele.
Yeah.
One thing that I did know from our matches is I see that he's a Hobo starter. I'm like, the Hobo is completely dead to me. I'm never gonna go to Hobo, and that was Hobo. The only Hobo and Eastern and Pod, of course, were the only things I had left before I went to Dark World with Mirror. I'm like, it's gonna be Skullwoods. Let's be real. We got the early fire rod. Let's go take care of this. I felt bad when after I did Smith Chain, I found like everything just sitting in GT. I'm like, oh, this is not good. But trying to fake flute over 2-3 was kind of slow. I'm not good at using the potion and transitioning at the same time, as you might have saw. It takes a couple of tries. Normally, I like to have 2 bottles with me before I even give it a go. I was not gonna give it a shot until I got a bottle because I don't know how the logical way you're supposed to get down with a mirror. I haven't really practiced that, so I depend on the bottle to kind of get there and do all the bunny stuff in Skullwoods Village area.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Like having to go back and get the bottle. You left your portal up there so you can go back in, but that was a little bit of time lost too. I think Skele had a faster fake flute.
It's all that no logic I've been learning lately.
Yeah. Oh, Gamma, you're gonna love no logic if you can't YVA. I promise you, it's not just YVAs. Like you can do other stuff in it too. You can open a lot of chests and find hook shot and just get a free hook push seed and get to finals.
Yeah, something I might consider, but yeah, this one I felt okay. Just I still can't believe Hobo had a bow. That was something I just told myself I'm not gonna do at all.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, I saw the hint Light World from Ganon. I'm like, Light World, what do I have left? I'm looking like, oh, all the fetch quests that was in GT. I got the shovel, the powder, and what the other one? I got 3 fetch quests in there. Shovel, powder, and was there something else? I think I got something else. All right, I guess I didn't. But it just blew my mind. Like, oh, I'm not gonna do any of that. I skipped Tell Room and just kind of gambling. Okay, it just goes to dungeons. You got all of these free dungeons open, and then the first check I get, clearing TR is a bone. Like, oh, okay, wow, this might be good. You might full clear swamp. Looking for the other bow. I held off on Pod till super late. I didn't want to do Pod before Pearl. I'm like, it's gotta be Skullwoods. kind of feeling it. I had fun with this one though. This one was pretty good. Um, yeah, just nothing too terrible about it. Just everything kind of sitting in GT is like, oh, that feels not great. Should have scattered them around or something.
I think this one, the mitts wouldn't have been logical in V31, right? Like, wasn't this a logical bunny pocket seed?
Where was the big key again?
Yeah,
It was
big
in the
moves
bridge
like that.
chest,
Oh,
right?
it was thick. Yeah, it was a bunny pocket. I think that. Yeah, is that 3 pepper? Is that 4 pepper? I think that's 3 pepper. 3 pepper pearl. How spicy.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
I didn't think about where the big key was. I was just thinking skull into Mire Shed was pretty spicy.
Yeah, and I for sure was just gonna go right into Ice Palace after that too, because
Oh my gosh.
I was so lost in the sauce.
I almost went to Ice Palace. Like the only thing when I got picked up mitts, which kind of threw me off. I'm like, oh, this just opens Ice Palace. I fluted there. Well, first I fluted to Sitka. I'm like, do I want to do Ice Palace? Kind of thinking it. I did Sitka, and then I flew over to 8 on my way to Ice Palace. I'm like, wait. This also opens up Mire Shed. Let me go take care of that first, just at the off chance. Yeah, I saved myself the headache of clearing a hookless / caneless Ice Palace. That's never fun.
Oh yeah, when you saw the mitts, I was like, oh, we're doing ice. This is gonna be a fun seed. And then I remembered Mire Shed. I think Mire Shed is just a good play because you get to see the medallion. You should just do it. As like when you get the mitts and then you have the mirror, that should be the first thing you do. Especially if you have flute. It's super free with flute. So I think you were both right to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty efficient.
You also had like top of Death Mountain. I mean, you got Mimic Cave access really early, and I was suspicious of that, but it ended up not being anything. We didn't even see it.
Yeah, that was kind of where my like descent into madness began, because I wanted to do that, but for some reason I went to the wrong portal, and then I was just like, I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah, that's gonna be a dead check to me. I despise going to these Turtle Rock without Kana Samoria. It's like a kryptonite of mine. Like, I'm not gonna touch that. I'd rather do everything else before touching that.
Yeah.
So again, I hope you enjoyed the tournament. You had a grand old time. You made it all the way to top 4, so that must be fun.
Yeah, I didn't even expect myself to make it this far to begin with. This was a fun mode. This is definitely a nice change of, change of brass era rather than playing the other modes I normally play. It's just, just do your glitching and go do stuff and have fun with it. And that's what it is to me. I enjoyed it, coming across all these folks I came across. And I had no shame in losing Skele. Skele, Beer has told me how strong he is as a runner overall. And learning just glitches before joining the tournament is like, wow, he's improved pretty quickly. And it's pretty impressive to see that. And yeah, thanks for putting up the tournament too. It's been fun. I've had a lot of big blast. And I'm gonna look forward to see how this ends. And Skele, I hope you win it all. That way I could say I lost to the champion.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see. I think my beginner's luck is probably not going to last that much longer.
So yeah, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, we get to see potentially Skele's opponent, Tam versus MM2 Nest Cartridge, playing game 2 with Tam behind the game. No, up a game ahead. And then if MM2 wins that one, there will be another one not the next day, but the day after. So stay tuned for that. We are coming to the end of this tournament. Do follow the SpeedGaming channels to get all your HMG content and all your league content and otherwise. Otherwise, we will be out for tonight. I hope everybody has a good time, and see you later.